This is the Provoked Prawn here with some tips for PvE Tarkov. Like, did you know, for example, that you can jam loads of stuff into an item's case, including other cases, which is a really handy tip that I've only just learned recently. I want to give you a bunch of different tips that hopefully you'll find useful if you're playing Tarkov with your friends or on your own. One of the very simplest ones is to not ignore coats when looting around the world in Tarkov. And that's because you'll often find really good keys in there. On Factory especially, I've managed to find the Dorm's marked room key more than once in coats and in scav pockets. So always check scav pockets because this marked room key is worth millions. So it's well worth looking out for. Now, the items case tip that I gave you a second ago requires level 3 therapist in order to do it. Once you get level 3 therapist unlocked, I'd highly recommend getting an items case. It is superior to a junk box because you can put many other things in it. Now, there are a few different ways to get it. You either play in euros for it, or you can use several different barters for it. One of which is actually using dog tags, so you can collect a whole load of dog tags and get it as long as they're level 15 dog tags. Put a dog tags case in your safe container, and then when you're killing PMCs, you can just put the dog tags in there and collect them, and then eventually you'll be able to get one of these. The good thing about the items case is it takes up about the same amount of room as the junk box, but it actually is able to hold a lot more, including liquids and all sorts of other things that you can put in there. You'll see that I've got a lot of high value nonsense inside mine, for example. But one of the things I discovered recently is it's possible to stack other cases and containers within it. So you can take a load of ammo boxes here, for example, and magazine cases, and you can just put them in there. Now, we're nesting things in here, which might make life a little bit more complicated trying to remember where things are, but it frees up a lot of space in your stash and allows you to manage things more easily. If you're like me and you like to collect a lot of stuff in Tarkov and then hold on to it for no reason, you're not quite sure what's what or what's for what, but you know there are a lot of different barters that you can use things for, there's a nice tip here that you might find useful. Right-click on an item and click on Required Search, and you can actually find what these can be handy for. So use Moonshine as an example here. Delete exclude barter offers from the top, and you'll see then you can get this thick item case, for example, for 50 moonshine, 50 vodka, and 30 whiskies. Now, obviously, that's insane, and there's a lot of things to it. But the point is you can do this for a lot of different items and easily find the relevant barters for those items and then know whether you should hold on to them or sell them. With all the different items in the game, it can be really easy to end up with a junk box full of nonsense. And you're not quite sure what you want to sell or what you want to keep. Now, obviously, constructing your hideout, there's a lot of different items of a lot of different types required in order to construct these things. So sometimes, if you're like me, you might end up holding on to stuff and not knowing whether you need it or not. Now, you'll notice with the wishlist system, a little icon gets appended to the bottom left corner of an item if it's important for crafting in your hideout. But if you go into the hideout and you want to add other things to a wish list, you can right-click on the item and then add to wish list and choose whichever. For example, I've got other on these parts here that I want to use for crafting a flash drive. On standard items that are used for upgrading or crafting parts of your hideout, you'll notice there's a little indicator in the bottom left, a circle basically, in the bottom left of these items, which lets you know they're required for hideouts. So pay attention to that, because then you hold on to these items because they're obviously important for that crafting process. So when you find them, you won't sell them by accident. But if you want to add extra things to be crafted or to be kept for barters, you can make use of the wish list, which will then allow you to see when you're looking at your junk box which of these is important for which, whether it's for a barter or for crafting, or if it hasn't got a marker against it because you haven't put in it, you could just sell it and get rid of it and then make some money. So this can be really handy for just working that out. When it's so much easier to kill PMCs in PvE, it might seem like there's no point in looting scavs, but I've actually found that it's really important to loot both their bags and their pockets. And this is often the case that it's really easy to find a whole load of money on scavs in wallets and in their pockets, but you'll also find they've looted a bunch of other things, and I've often found important high-level keys on them as well. So it is worth taking the time to loot scavs. Even if you don't want their weapons, you'll often find a bunch of money. You can put that money in your docs case and then use it for vehicle extracts, or just keep stacking it until you've got a whole load that you can then drop into your stash when you get back to your hideout. There are a number of tasks in Tarkov from various different traders that require found in raid items to be delivered. It's worth paying attention to what you can craft in your hideout though, because if it's crafted, it's often counted as found in raid. So, for example, I'm currently trying to make little tins of food to give to the therapist. She wanted 15 of these cans of food, and this is for the general wares task. You can see 15 cans required there. But instead of finding them in-game, I can just craft 2 at a time in my hideout. This is obviously going to take some money, but it is worth doing. If you've got a gun, for whatever reason, out of a game, you might want to sell it on the flea market. You might think that's how you're going to get the most money. But if you have a look at this gun, for example, we filtered by this item, you can see that the basic one, even at 100% of things, only going for 44,000 currently. If we go to the traders and look at mechanic as an example, you can see that with him it's going for 52,000. So you can actually make more money with mechanic and obviously hit those limits for how much money you're meant to spend by just selling to him. You can make more money that way. Now, alternatively, you might want to sell to Peacekeeper for the dollars, or maybe Skier, who's actually doing less. No, Mechanic is currently the highest one, so check through those and see what the best value is. One way to make some easy money is to look for things when you've got a higher level trader that you can buy for a certain amount and then sell for more on the flea market. So you'll see at the moment that you can buy DVL magazines from Skier, for example, at level 2 for about 5,167 rubles. Now you can buy 5 of these at a time, and you can also sell them on the flea market for more. So if we have a look at the DVL magazines, for example, this is a very small profit, but it's something to look for. So you can get them for Skier level 2 at that 5,000, but if people haven't got level 2, they have to look at the flea market, and you can see the current bottom is 8,000. So that's obviously a few thousand profit for each of them. And you can sell multiples of them. So if you've got a bunch, then you can do that really easily. Now, this is just a small bit of profit, but it's just one example. You can take loads of different things that can be bought and sold like this on the flea market from higher level traders really easily. If you can get them, it's worth having an armor repair kit and a weapon repair kit, because this will improve your skill and save you money. One thing I have noticed though is if you drag the armor repair kit onto a piece of armor, it doesn't always repair the plates, so sometimes you have to do the plates individually as well, which is worth bearing in mind, because you don't want to go in with armor that isn't fully repaired and looked after. Hopefully these tips helped. If they did, check out the playlist to see more tips and tricks for Tarkov and for PVE, and subscribe to see shenanigans from me and my buddies when playing and all the different nonsense we get up to. Thanks for watching.